So this week's Borderlands 3 update has just landed, and with it comes the addition of the new Bloody Harvest event, some new general additions to the game, some bug fixes, and a whole lot more, including some great features we're going to be getting in November, such as a major upgrade to bank space. So in this video, I'm going to be covering everything you need to know about this new update and future updates to come. Starting off this video today, let's talk about the new additions, and the obvious one being the new Bloody Harvest event. I recently did a video covering everything you needed to know about this, and that will be linked below, but this brings with it a new area to explore, new enemies to face off against, including a new boss fight, some new legendary gear, and much more. And again, if you want to see all of the info on this, the video will be linked below. Now aside from this, there's also a few more additions that have been brought to the game. Starting off, we have some new Vault Hunter customizations and trinkets for your weapons that will all be available through Crazy Earl aboard Sanctuary 3. Next up, and for you console players out there, they have now made Mayhem mode available in true Vault Hunter mode. This was a long-standing issue where most console players were unable to access this, so I'm glad it's now been fixed. In addition to this, and again being directed at console players, they have now added photo mode support and have also added the ECHOcast Twitch extension. So again, some great news for console players out there. In addition to this, we actually have a slight buff to the Flakker's ammo consumption now. I'm assuming most of you already know that this weapon was hit with a heavy nerf in the last update, where they reduced the damage of the weapon, but also reduced the magazine size to 1. However, the weapon was still consuming 5 ammo per shot, and with the magazine size downgraded to 1, it nerfed the weapon a lot more than intended, so now they decided to reduce this so it only consumes 1 ammo per shot. I mean, it's nothing too crazy, but a slight buff nonetheless. And finally, some other general good changes for this section is they have now added the ability to specify which Mayhem mode you want to play on while matchmaking, and have also turned down the volume of the 2K and Gearbox intro movies when loading up the game. And thank God they did this. It was very unpleasant to load up the game and have my eardrums literally blasted every time. Before we get into the more meaty side of these patch notes, discussing some great upcoming additions and changes to the game, let's dive into today's general fixes and stability improvements. To begin, they have now fixed several crash issues that were occurring in the game. Reading directly from their patch notes here, it states, fixed a reported bug resulting in a crash when loading into maps. They've also fixed an audio crash bug. They fixed a crash that occurred for certain users when level transitioning immediately after throwing a longbow grenade. They also fixed a reported crash that occurred for certain users when swapping an equipped weapon. And finally, they fixed the crash that occurred for certain users when sorting the mission log by region. So some general good crash fixes there. In addition to this, we also have some other general fixes. For PC users, they have improved the reliability of the voice chat system when opening and closing the Echo menu, and have also added a modification so typing in the text chat no longer prevents players from fast traveling. In terms of quest changes now, they have fixed Brick, who used to get stuck after chasing enemies off the cliff near Hector's Lament in the Anvil region. They have also made a modification where the Amber Lamps no longer have a chance to spawn during the Defend Baelix objective of the Family Jewel mission. And they also fixed an issue with a potential progression blocker where Reese talks during the Hostile Takeover quest. Moving on to photo mode changes now, and the camera will no longer reset to a random location when using the reset camera function, and photo mode will now force exit when the player is being teleported. Again, there's a lot to go through here, so moving on to some of the final bug fixes in today's update, and reading directly from their patch notes here, it states, addressed a concern where some players were missing skill points. I didn't even know this was happening, but this is goddamn terrible, so I'm glad it's now been fixed. They've also made it so that subtitles are now present when joining another player's game while a cinematic is playing. They have also fixed a user interface issue where the Mayhem modifier menu would sometimes not appear for certain players. They also fixed the floating door frame in the Jacob's Theatre. And finally, they have increased the checkpoint sizes of new use stations in multiple locations. Now, there is a few more smaller bug fixes that are on the patch notes, but I wanted to cover some of the main standout changes in this video. So if you want to check out some of the other smaller fixes, then the patch notes will be linked in the description below. And now it's time for the juicy side of the information they released today, and that is some new additions coming to the game sometime during November. Starting off with the bank, loads of people, including myself, have been complaining that there's tons of legendaries in this game, but nowhere near enough bank space to even hold a quarter of them. Well, it turns out that they have in fact been listening, and reading directly from their patch notes here it states, expanding the bank has been the most consistently requested feature by the community. We've heard you loud and clear, and the groundwork for expanding the bank has already started. The first of several planned expansions will coincide with the release of Takedown at Maliwan's Black Site. Expect a significant bank expansion that will more than double the existing space. Additional expansions to the bank will continue to be rolled out over future releases. So all of this will come during the Maliwan Takedowns event, and this is definitely one of the features I'm most looking forward to. In addition to this, a very important change will be happening during November, and that is more dedicated loot drops for bosses. This is something I've been advocating for since the beginning, and again, in a statement from Gearbox it mentions, several of you have stated a desire to find gear more easily in the game. To do that, we're updating the loot pools to ensure that more specific gear drops from bosses. That means you'll be able to go to a specific boss to get the specific gear you're looking for. We're working out which bosses get which gear right now, and expect this to be ready as a part of the November patch as well. This is huge and similar to that of Borderlands 2 style of looting, which I prefer to the sheer amount of random world drops we get in this game. And while the looting system is great, I do feel that more specific loot dropping from specific enemies is definitely a great direction for the game's looting system. Anyway, moving on to the performance and stability side of this now, it states, game performance and stability continue to be our top priorities. The first fruits of labour will be released on the upcoming November patch, with various improvements game-wide. We've also been hard at work improving the game's stability, and more improvements in this regard are expected to be included again in the November patch. Performance and stability will continue to be an ongoing effort, with more fixes rolled out with each upcoming patch. So again, some good news there, and hopefully this November patch will fix the majority of the performance issues that this game has been having. Anyway, moving on again here, we're going to be getting some huge changes to Mayhem mode. It states, Mayhem mode has been a fantastic addition to the Borderlands world. After receiving some great community feedback, we've been hard at work on a significant revamp that will include a host of improvements over several upcoming updates. The first update will be released as a part of the Takedown at Maliwan's Black Site, and includes the first new Mayhem mode level, Mayhem 4. Expect a significant challenge when this debuts, with tougher enemies that reward players with highly synergized character builds. A new batch of legendary gear will also only drop while in Mayhem 4 to reward those players who are truly up for the challenge. Longer term, we have plans to overhaul Mayhem mode with more UI support, new Mayhem modifiers that change the gameplay more dramatically, Mayhem playlists, new rewards, and additional levels of Mayhem to work through. We're excited about Mayhem 2.0, and we'll talk more about it when it gets a little closer to its release. So some very interesting stuff here. And I really do wonder what this new batch of legendaries for Mayhem 4 will entail. And of course, Mayhem 4 is going to be a lot more difficult. You're going to have a very specific builds to be able to play on those modes effectively. So I'm probably going to be doing some character builds here soon, as it's something that I have yet to cover, and I've been getting a lot, and I mean a lot, of comments asking me to post some character builds to the channel. Anyway, moving on again here, we also have some buffs to the Vault Hunter's companions in Mayhem mode. As many of you know, all of the companions, so things like Flax Pets, Moses Iron Bear, and Zane's Digiclone, pretty much get obliterated on Mayhem mode. So they recently stated that they are continuing to figure out ways to buff these, so they are more balanced in these modes. In addition to this, they are also adding vending machines around the map. A lot of people have been complaining that there isn't enough vending machines in the more open areas, so here are all of the locations where more vending machines will be added. We don't know the exact locations for these yet, but I'm pretty sure they will release more info about these soon. And for the final future additions, we have skippable cutscenes and a new target dummy. Gearbox stated, "We're currently investigating the best way to approach letting players skip cutscenes. This is much easier said than done. Under the hood, the game may activate critical events based on cinematics. In order to make sure mission progression isn't negatively impacted, we need to inspect each cinematic and make sure those events still work correctly. We have a few ideas on how to tackle this problem and expect to have a solution soon." And this change can't come enough in my opinion. This is something that bothers me to my core, as I have played through the game like 5 times in total, and not having the ability to skip cutscenes can be a real pain in the backside. Anyway, in terms of this new target dummy, they stated, "Need an easier way to test your gear? We're going to add a target dummy to the shooting range on Sanctuary 3. We feel this is the best location since your bank is also on the ship. This way you can manage your test builds on Sanctuary 3 without having to travel anywhere else." And this is the only thing from their patch notes and, information they put out today that is expected to be released sometime in December. Now overall, these future changes are awesome. They're listening to the community on a lot of these things, and honestly, it's just great to see the transparency of what they plan to do in the future. They also mentioned they're going to be calming down on the big nerfs they have been doing, so hopefully we won't see any more weapons being nerfed into the ground moving forward. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the video. If you enjoyed the video today, be sure to leave a like, or Crazy Earl will come to your house and steal your food. Trust me guys, this guy's serious, so drop a like. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and if you want to check out the top 10 best legendary weapons in Borderlands 3, click on this video on screen. Peace.